welcome everyone. So this is the mindset mastery. So I'm going to play a little video. I'm going to share my screen and we're going to get started right now. So this is just a little bit of an introduction of who I am, and let's roll it. So welcome to Mindset Mastery with Stefan Neff. So who is Stefan Neff? Stefan was born and raised in Langley, British Columbia. Stefan has 2 children, or married with 2 children. Stefan had alcohol and drug addictions for 35 years until he found a solution that worked. Smart recovery, self-management, and recovery training based on science using CBT and REBT, tools that work. Now, today we will go over some of the smart recovery mindset tools. Because to build and maintain a mindset, a strong mindset, we can use the tools necessary. For example, using a wrench for this tool, for this mindset, for this object, and for this in our lives. So to live the life that we truly desire and truly deserve. So I'm going to go through some of the tools. I'm going to stop sharing here. Awesome. All right, so let's get started. So I'm going to see if I can do this virtual screen here, and let's see if it works here. All right, so let's see. I'm going to pause it out, and it didn't work, so I'm going to pause that out and stop the sharing of that. So let's get started. So the first tool I would love to go through. So we're going to go through some of these tools, and then towards the end, we're going to do a couple tools ourselves together. And you can do it at home when you're watching this video in recording. Okay, so let's get started. So the first tool is called Vital Absorbing Creative Interests, or VACI for short. Because Smart Recovery uses a lot of acronyms. Sometimes it's easier to use acronyms, and then we can actually use the tool right away. So VACI can help bring back some of the simple pleasures of living a life free of substance and unhelpful behaviors. When we get over involved in any one activity, be it helpful or not so helpful, we cut out a lot out of our lives that we used to enjoy. Finding a balance can restore the fun and enjoyment that life has to offer. So how can we do that? How can we get it back to those simple pleasures of life? So as we do this, I'm going to pull up this the tool on my screen here as I share the screen. Just give me a second here. All right. So this is the tool that I'm talking about. So when we were, I would say, in our teens or young adult, before we, for example, life just took hold of us, we had these simple pleasures. It could be, for example, it could be painting, it could be riding a bike, it could be mountain climbing, it could be as simple as just walking on the beach. So what we're going to do, and what you can do, for example, is write down some of the things that you used to enjoy. So you would write it down. Then what you would do from the past, from 1 to 10, how much did you enjoy it? Then what you're going to do as you're writing all these different things, and then what you're going to do is you're going to do it for 30 days. After those 30 days, you're going to ask yourself, you're going to rate it from 1 to 10. How much did you enjoy it in that 30 days? And writing down some of your thoughts and feelings around that activity. And you start to live your life with all these enjoyments in life. So that's called the VACIs. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. Then the next one, and that's really, this one here is a powerful tool. It's called the urge log. Now, identifying your triggers is an important part of your recovery. Awareness gives you the power to understand and deal with urges. However, even with awareness and planning, you will experience urges. It's normal. It's natural part of recovery. Awareness is understanding of urges. It's crucial to recovery. You identify what triggers them, but do you know how long an urge lasts? How intense they are? How frequent they are? And most people, addictive behaviors, do not realize that urges usually last only for seconds, maybe minutes, and then they pass. One way to understand your urges is by recording them in an urge log. An urge log is like a graph or a table in which you record specific information about an urge. then the patterns, then you notice the patterns and a similarity about an urge. The urge log then becomes your roadmap that will help you anticipate situations and emotions that may trigger urges. You almost, for example, you almost may notice certain thoughts, patterns, and associations with urges. So let me pull this up, and it's very simple to use. You can just do it on a piece of paper, a pen to paper. All right, and you'll see this on the screen. And you can do this at home on yourself too as well. Okay, so this is what it is. So what time of date that an urge came on? What date? Then you go to a time, and you rate the urge from 1 to 10. How long did it last for? What triggered my urge? Where was I? Who was I with? How did I cope with these feelings about the urge? What activities did I substitute? Then what you're going to do is you're going to go back and you're going to identify some of those patterns that may have caused an urge or a craving. And this is really helpful for example, the first 45 days of your sobriety, because then you can track them, because the urges and the cravings are very strong and the urges are very strong. Okay, so that's called the urge log. So the next one is, it's called D.I.S.A.R.M. So destructive imagery and self-talk awareness and refusal method. So D.I.S.A.R.M is a tool that helps you see self-talk and images. For example, you're driving down the road, all of a sudden you see a liquor store, and that image will create a trigger within the mind, because we're so used to seeing these images. And then we can challenge those urges of those self-talk and those images by disarming it. So on one side of our brain is our, I would say, positive side. On the other side of our shoulder is this little ego voice, or as I call it, salesman. So what we're going to do is we're going to name that salesman, because that salesman is going, you know what, go use. No one's going to find out. Even if you turn into the liquor store, no one will ever know if you have one drink or two. But on the other side, you're going to disarm that salesman, and you're going to name him to tame him. I'll repeat that. You're going to name him to tame him. Whatever you name him, then you're going to create an affirmation surrounding what you're going to tell that little voice in means yourself, means on the other side of your shoulder. And whatever that may be strong with it, because when you overpower that ego salesman, you will defeat him, and you start to weaken that salesman in your own mind. That's what's called disarm. Let's go to the next tool here. Now, the next tool is called, we're all in business. It's called cost-benefit analysis. So I'm going to pull this up, and we can use this in business. We can use this in so many situations in our lives. And now this cost-benefit analysis is this one here. So you can get a piece of paper. You don't need to, for example, you don't need to copy this out or print this out. You can just use a piece of paper. So you make 4 quadrants. So on the very top, you're going to write down using or doing. And on one side, you're going to say the benefits. And on the other side is the costs. And this is the using. And you make a list of all the benefits that using your DOC created in your own thoughts, in your own mind, in your own life. Then on the other side is the costs. Then as we scroll down, on the bottom half is the benefits and costs of not using and not doing your DOC, means drug of choice. And the same thing, you make a list of all the benefits. Then after you've done all the benefits and costs of all throughout this worksheet, then what you're going to go back and is you're going to go right beside all of your answers, is you're going to say, is this long-term or short-term? Then you can identify if all these things in your life that are benefits and costs are long-term and short-term.
On a scale of 1 to 5, would you give yourself a 5 on achieving what you want in life? If your answer is anything less than a 5, right now, I have something awesome for you. Achieving your goals and living your life at a 5 isn't easy. Most people aren't prepared to focus, stay disciplined, and do the everyday work that is necessary to achieve amazing results. But since you're watching this, then I'm guessing that you're not one of those people. And this is an opportunity that will change your life. Give to Get is a global program that brings together world-class coaching and combines it with empowering masterminds and networking opportunities. We provide 5-star guidance for the price of a cup of coffee a day. To find out more, click on the link in the description of this coaching session.
So you go through that tool, and this is one of, I know individuals that use this every time they get a craving and urge. This will defeat craving and urges right now. Cost-benefit analysis. All right. So that is cost-benefit analysis. Now, this next tool is called the D.E.A.D tool. So D stands for deny, delay. E stands for escape the urge and craving. The A is avoid, accept the urge, and attack the urge and craving. The D is distract by doing something different. The S stands for substitute. And I'm going to pull up again another tool on the screen. Just give me a second here. All right. There we go. And you can do this at home, everyone. And it's not only for example, substance use or addictions. You can use this for unwanted thoughts, unwanted behaviors. It could be for anxiousness. It could be for depression. To identify these things, you can use it as a multiple tool. So this is the tool here. So you write down all these things when you have a craving and urge. This is based on a substance use. So as I said, the D, and you go through this worksheet as you're getting a craving and urge. This will distract you as well as identifying some of those activities and things you're going to use to help you on that path of recovery. So you go all the way to the bottom and you complete this worksheet. So that's the D.E.A.D tool. All right, the next tool I'm going to talk about is now the A.B.C tool. So A.B.C tool is an exercise based on rational emotive behavior therapy, which is a form of cognitive behavior therapy that is simple enough and effective enough that you can use anywhere. Anybody can use it. It works. You can learn this tool straight out of any book, for example, the Smart Recovery Handbook, or on the website. So I'm going to pull up on the screen again. Awesome. It's called the A.B.C tool. Now the A.B.C tool can be used for anger, could be used again for anxiousness and depression. And as I said, I'll pull it up on the screen. Is A stands for the activating event. So what happened in your life that may have caused something? Then you go to the belief. What belief did I have around the event? Is it rational? Is it a rational belief or irrational belief? But write down your belief system. Then you're going to go to a C. The C is the consequence, means the emotional feeling that you received from the original event. It could be you were sad, it could have been you were angry, it could have been frustration, it could have been disappointment. Then what you're going to do is after you've figured out what your belief and your consequences are, is you're going to start to figure out to the D. You're going to start to dispute if it was an irrational belief or rational belief, but you want to dispute the irrational belief surrounding the event in the first place. Because oftentimes, for example, if somebody makes you angry, it wasn't them that actually made you angry. It was your belief around the anger that you're feeling. Because that individual cannot control your happiness. Then what you do is the E, is effective change in my thinking and my emotional feelings. So what kind of changes can you rewrite the irrational belief so you can live the life that you truly desire? Change your vibration, change your feelings. So this tool, I highly recommend individuals for any upset feelings in their life. I use it on a daily basis when a situation happens in my life. So this is called the A.B.C tool. Awesome. I'm going to take a little drink here for a second. So that's the A.B.C tool. All right. Okay, so what we're going to do now is the next tips and tools for smart recovery to create a strong mindset. It's called a change plan worksheet. So a change plan worksheet is, as I said, I'm going to pull up on the screen another worksheet here. There we go. And it's just like it says, the change plan worksheet. We want to change certain aspects of our lives that we may be struggling with. It could be unwanted addictive behaviors. It could be anything in our lives, anything that we want to work on, that we want to create change in to build a strong mindset. So changes I want to, first one, changes I want to make. It could be changes I want to make. I want to release 5 to 10 pounds. Okay, so that would be one. It could be I want to start to really work on my sobriety or my health, whatever it may be, the changes I want to make. And then you go to the next one. How important is this to me to make these changes are from 1 to 10? Ask yourself and be honest. Be honest to yourself. And then how confident am I that I'm going to make these changes? Again, from 1 to 10. Then the most important reason I want to make these changes are, for example, I want to have a great relationship with my spouse or my children or my family, or it could be your job. I want to be a healthy employee, or I want to have a strong business mindset. Then the next one, what steps or processes I plan to take in changing are. And you build a step-by-step process for you to create change in your life. How other people can help me. It could be, for example, it could be a counselor. It could be a life coach. It could be, for example, going to a meeting to help you build a strong mindset around unwanted addictive behaviors. Then the next one is, how will I know my plan is working? So identify that. For example, 45 days sober. For example, that I'm starting to release some of the weight that I want to release. Then you go to the next, the final question is some things that could interfere with my plan are. For example, it could be if it's food or health is going to buy some chips and French fries and burgers and maybe stopping in the cold beer and wine store, for example, that could interfere with your plan. So identifying what could interfere, then you can identify some of the things that you can release. So that's a change plan worksheet. All right, so next one on our list. Now this one is called the hierarchy of values. Hierarchy of values. In short, we call it HOV. So this is one of the things that I would love for the individuals in this group to really focus on to help build a strong mindset. So you're going to take a few minutes or so, and no rushing this, because I absolutely, for me, myself, is to have a strong value system. So make a list of things that are so important to you. And once that is completed, pick out five things that would be, I would say, placed at the very top of your list. And remember, all the other values that are on your list are not disappearing because they're still there, but to pick the 5 top ones, okay? Then other your most important things. Then, for example, there's no wrong or right answer, everyone. So whatever you choose to put on your value list is important to you. Then what you're going to do, and take your time, and you can pause this video and start writing those down. So now you have your top 5. Now this exercise will have more meaning and great impact if you really truly take your time on this one. So no rushing it, please. So as you go through this, for the purpose of really, maybe here's some of the examples. For example, it could be family, it could be friends, it could be your happiness, it could be health, independence, self-sufficient. Now, the one thing that I've found is what was missing on that list. If it's sobriety, what is missing on the list? And what I notice is how rarely people put alcohol on the top of their list. Or when they're in the sobriety, how often people put sobriety in the top of their list. In my case, I am the most important person. So I value myself as the number one person, as the number one value in my own life. And what people can help them with their DOC is by identifying that addiction is and maybe number one value. is if I go to the liquor store, if I go to my dealer, that number one value, for example, sobriety, or it could be family, it could be self. Now, when we put addiction as number one, all those other values are now below. That's when we go. So it's really, really identify that our addiction may have been a number one value in the past, because it may jeopardize some of those other values in our lives that are so important to us. It could be your spouse, it could be your health, that we may be not really noticing too much. So, and identifying your values, you can do this over and over again, maybe every quarterly. You can go through it maybe every, I would say 2 months, like 3 months, and then identifying your values. Because as time goes on, as you do your, when you're in your sobriety and you're at, for example, 90 days or 100 days, or maybe 6 months, your values may start to shift and change. So I highly recommend doing a redo this as well. And I'm just going to pull this up real quick as I identify this. Oh, pause there for a second. Okay, I'm going to get this one ready. So as you said, you can redo this on a quarterly basis. All right. So I'm going to do the next tool. Now this is where the HOV means hierarchy values, and the next process, the next tool to build a strong mindset is life balance pie worksheet. So this is a blank piece of paper, pen to paper process. But I'm going to pull up the worksheet that you can do, and you can identify what it would look like. If you want to just draw it on a piece of paper, it's a pie. Is you break it up into 8 pieces. And you can see it there. And what you're going to do is you're going to identify some of the things in your life that you want to. It could be writing on those little points. Is, for example, you want to put family. It could be friends, your spirituality. It could be your romance. It could be your health. It could be your work, your business, recreation, personal growth. It could be finances, means money. It could be physical activities, your physical surroundings. Then what you're going to do on that list, as I pull it up, on each one of these is you're going to ask yourself, and you're going to rate it from 1 to 10. How much time am I spending on each of these activities? And it could be, for example, me, one of them is volunteering. So you would mark that. For example, me would be a 9 or a 10. So what I would do is I would go all the way around the list as I've been identify them and ask myself the question, how much time am I spending on these activities? And as you go all the way around, you mark them and mark them. And then what you're going to do after you've marked them and identify them is you're going to connect the dots. Connect the dots all the way around with a ruler, or just draw them in. You're going all the way around. For example, maybe health was a 5. And then it could be family, it could be a 9. And then it could be all the way to the last part, it could be finances, it could be a 6 or a 7. Then ask yourself this question, and I love this question when I ask this individuals, is we have a tire in our car. If we have a little bit of a dip in our tire in our car, and we're driving around the road with our car, and all of a sudden we have a little bit of a bump in the road, all of a sudden, okay, I got to go fix the tire. Would you go fix the tire or continually driving for weeks and months on end? I believe we're going to go fix our tire. So it's just like life. Life, if it has dips in it, means sometimes our life will go up and down. But if it's nice and round, our life becomes much more smoother than if it has dips in it. So working on the things that are lacking in our lives to put balance back into our lives. Because living a balanced lifestyle, everyone, creates a strong mindset surrounding the things that we really enjoy in our lives. So this is called the Life Balance Pie Worksheet. But then all of a sudden, how do you get there after you've done this Life Balance Worksheet? How do you get there? And on the bottom there, as you said, you'll write down the scores, the 1 to 4 and your highest scores, and then you go to your lowest scores. And then you work on the things that are really, I would say, lacking in your life when it comes down to balance. And then you can identify them, you can start to work on them. So the next worksheet, the next process we're going to work on is how to get those balance back in our lives. So I'm going to pause there for a second. Right. Okay, so the next process that I would love to work in individuals with is called, oh, by the way, too, is before I roll to the next question, as I have some questions you can ask yourselves, is, am I living a balanced lifestyle? Are my true values and priorities reflecting here? So you ask yourself these questions. Am I involved in too many things and too many activities that unbalance some of the other things in our lives? So you'll ask these questions to yourselves. Are there areas of my life that that need more attention, of course? And that's why we get to this next process. It's goal setting. Is to establish values and goals and create a plan and a strategy to achieve these goals. Means balanced lifestyle, means building our strong mindset. So essentially is an aspect of recovery, especially when creating balance in our lives. Our values guide our lives. From long-term goals we set in our day-to-day lives. You'll hear people say, for example, in my meetings that I host, people talk about this. Patience, practice, and persistence on setting goals in our lives. We could easily add a fourth one, of course, planning. Planning is a big one too, is so important. So setting goals. So and I'm going to pull this next worksheet up. Okay, let's see. And take your time when you're doing that life balance worksheet. And also, like the HOV, the hierarchy of values, doing the life balance worksheet quarterly, to asking yourself the truth and be realistic and be truthful to yourself. Am I living a balanced lifestyle? So redoing it every quarterly and truly diving into your life balance. So I'm going to pull it to the goal setting. All right, yes, I have it ready. Okay. I believe we can see our screen. I'm going to ask Bruce, can you see my screen, Bruce?
Yes, I can, Stefan.
Thank you, Bruce. Thank you so much. Okay, so this is the goal setting activity. So now that you have your lifestyle balance pie worksheet filled out, and then you have your HOV, your hierarchy of values, then you want to set your goal. And the one thing about SMART, so the acronym SMART is not only for self-management and recovery training, it's being specific goal, measurable goal, achievable goal, a realistic goal, and a time-bound goal. So then what are you going to do? What goal is it that you want to achieve in your life? And it goes back to that when I was asking the question about your health, wanting to release, for example, 5 to 10 pounds. Or you want to start to really work on your sobriety. So what goals you want to achieve in your life? So then what you're going to ask yourself, and you're going to make a list of tasks, or I would say task and I would say objectives that you want to do. For example, you want to go to the gym or have your own gym at home. You're going to work out, for example, 4 days a week. How much time are you going to do it? What gym are you going to go to? Maybe you'll have an accountability partner. So you make a list of tasks that you're going to do to achieve these goals in your life. So when you have your life balance and some of those things that you're not quite achieving what you want in life, for example, in your balance worksheet or your balance pie, is you want to work on goal setting on each of these activities. And you do one at a time. one at a time. Because if we have too many goals, everyone, when we have too many goals, for me personally, I become overwhelmed. So keep those goals achievable and measurable. That was build a strong mindset, is start building. And then you can start doing a little bit more, doing a little bit more, and you start to create a strong, I would say, goal setting process in your own life. Okay, so you want to write these down, what goal you want to achieve. And then you pause this video, what goal you want to achieve. Then the next step is what task you're going to do to create these goals to help make that life balance worksheet or life balance in your life. And this is, you can use a piece of paper, for example, is to create that in your own life. And then you can revisit your goal setting processes in your life. I would say if you start to slip in some of those activities and tasks that you're attending to do, is go back and really determine yourself to live the life that you truly desire. Awesome. All right. Any questions? Any questions? I'm gonna have a sip of water. Any questions, Bruce?
I'll say yes, from a perspective of love the process, love all the tools. To your point, how does someone, I'll say, self-manage that, to your point, where they don't get overwhelmed, they don't put down too many goals, they don't try to do too much too quickly, they don't, I'll say, falsely think that these potholes aren't as quote unquote challenging or deep as they're going to be?
Yeah, that's when it comes. That's why asking yourself when there is, for example, the honest answer. So asking yourself that honest answer. So, for example, it could be health, and somebody. So your point is, if they say, "Oh, yeah, I'm pretty healthy. I'm an 8 or a 9," but you're talking about the actual truth being a 6 or a 5.
Right.
So, and this is the individual as asking that honest answer. Are they actually truly living that life that they truly desire? For example, am I spending quality time with my wife? We're having great conversations, and we do. So for me, it's a 9. So for me, that's what I'm asking the question. You can ask yourself, or am I just going, "Hi, dear, how you doing?" and then doing your other activities in life, or you having deep conversations? Or, for example, it's health. I'm going for 3 walks a day. I'm walking or running. For me, I walk 25 kilometers a day. I walk
Right.
3 days a week. So if I'm only walking 1 day a week, or sorry, 1 time a day, instead of the 3 times a day that I want, that I know that really helps me maintain my health, is that true? So how much more can I do? Is that goal achievable? So asking yourself that honest answer, Bruce, is, am I actually living these, I would say, life balance in my own life? For example, I volunteer, I would say 4 days a week. So it's an 8 or a 9. But then if I roll it back to my finances, for me, it would be a 5. I'm going to be honest with it, because I truly am. For example, I could bump it up. I could actually do much more. So then what am I going to do to create that financial balance in my life? For example, I'll start to really coach, and then I'm going to start going to do the goal setting. So what am I going to do to achieve those goals? But it all comes down to being honest with ourselves. Because if we're unable to be honest with ourselves, and if we believe that pie is perfectly circle, but there's certain aspects of our lives that we're not achieving that. For example, we're walking down the road and we're actually unachieving that because there's certain aspects of our lives. Maybe we get an argument with our wife. Why am I getting an argument with my wife? Is because I'm not having that communication with her. Or for example, with the health or volunteering, it could be my finances. I'm thinking about, oh, I have to paycheck to paycheck.
And do you believe that even there is a process that people go through to get honest with themselves? Or do you believe most people get very honest with themselves fairly quickly?
Well,
or from your, I guess a better way of saying it is from your experience.
Well, with an individual, for example, when somebody else asks the questions to the individual, and this is what my experience is when I ask the individual the question, it's much more impactful than I asking myself this question. You are exactly, I think that's what you're looking for, is when somebody else asks that question, a direct question. So how much time are you spending? And I do this in my meetings, and I ask them, how much time are you spending on this aspect of your life? Be honest with us and be honest with yourself. And that's the tactic of, for example, a coach or an individual like myself that's facilitating meetings. So, and I say to the individuals, truthfully, being honest helps you move forward. Discomfort.
Absolutely.
And discomfort equals growth. So if you feel uncomfortable, that's perfectly normal. But be discomfort within self first, because that's how growth becomes. That's the self-development, because we're taking that next step. But be honest with ourselves. Be uncomfortable with ourselves first.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
now, is part of your job as, I'll say, one of the facilitators, is to help people get honest with themselves by possibly pointing out to them when you believe somebody's not being honest with themselves?
Yep.
Okay.
And that's what that's what they do like about me personally. Not all facilitators would ask the right questions, for example, or really help guide them towards their truth, I would say.
Right.
And so I ask the right questions, and I'm not afraid to ask the questions, put it that way. So
yeah, exactly. And that I know from you, just through experience.
Yeah, because I truly believe that the individual that I can ask the questions that are maybe uncomfortable for the individuals, they will actually open up and they'll start to transform themselves through that discomfort. And I share this in the meetings all the time. But it's all comes down to the individual. They have to want to. So they have to want
exactly.
to. And for me, for any one of the individuals watching today, for example, they're going to watch the recording back, is ask yourself, do I feel comfortable by living a life of comfort instead of the discomfort, so I can move forward and to build a strong mindset? Because for me, to build a strong mindset is to do things that are uncomfortable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's the only way to build a strong mindset.
And that's for me, coming to these meetings and being a host on these meetings, being a host on my other programs and my other processes. I get uncomfortable every single time I do these meetings, because that's what helps me grow.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yep.
Yep.
So that's, as I said, we're at about 37 minutes at the hour. So as I said, Bruce, if we want to continue, do you have any more thoughts or any questions?
Not at this point, and we can wrap it up too from that point of view. So let me go here, and I'll hang on. Think to there we go. I've got the host back there, so then I can stop the recording from that point of view. Phenomenal, Stefan. I really like the process. I really like how you walked us through the process. I love all the tools from that perspective. And again, people are available to reach out and get those tools if they want. They're available to reach out and have the conversations with you if they want. I think this is just, again, a vital part to, I'll say, the life side of our business, Give to Get, where we're bringing more and more on the life side for people to help live that healthy life and get that life that they want. So thank you.
You're very welcome. And to wrap this up, are we still recording?
Not yet. So, or yes, we are.
Okay, good.
If we can stop the recording now, if you want to keep going, and then we can stop and have a little conversation after that too.
Sure, and I'll sort of wrap it up. So
Okay.
to do these tools, everyone, yes, it takes commitment. But to ask yourself to move forward and to have tools in our tool belt for specific areas in our life to build a strong mindset is we can grab any one of these tools, and whatever favorite tool that you love to use. For me, it's personally is the D.I.S.A.R.M tool or the A.B.C tool. For me, the A.B.C tool will help me in many aspects. It's a very wide tool to help with anxiousness, anger, sadness, a strong urge. And I said I use it on a daily basis. So it's not only for substance use, everyone. So whatever tool that you really love to use, it could be a screwdriver, means for me an ABC tool, is to really get into having a toolbox. And that's why I put in the very beginning a toolbox, because having toolbox will build a strong mindset. Because then we have a go-to tool that I'm just going to work on this one. And then a go-to tool that's going to work on this aspect of life. And that's why I love the whole process of smart recovery. There's not only one tool that fits all. This is what's 10 of the tools. There's about 4 or 5 more tools that and tips and tools that really work. So use the right tool for the right process in your own life. So everybody, have a fantastic day and create a strong mindset within your life.
Thank you, Stefan. And I'll just wrap up. One, I love how you name the different, I'll say, tools like screwdriver, wrench, hammer, because they're all different for everybody. I love how you give people the toolbox and the knowledge and the flexibility of go to grab that tool however it works best for them. I love too that, yes, well, this helps very much with people that are, I'll say, recovering from that point of view. These tools are applicable to any aspect in life where people want to build a stronger mindset around whatever it is. So it's absolutely applicable to all different areas. So thank you very much, sir.